Well, here we are. I'm gonna stop covering games, I think, because I just said in this video, well, vampires. In the last video, vampires is not coming, but at least Cyberpunk. I'm excited for that. And look, so this is a short delay. It's delayed by 21 days. Instead of coming out on the 19th, now it's coming out December 10th. Now, the reason I'm making this video is not because of this. They say in this little release here that the reason that it's hard right now, the reason they have the delay is because they are releasing on 9 systems. Both current gen of Xbox One, PS4, and next gen Xbox X or Xbox Series X and S and PS4, PS5. I mean, so the current gen and next gen. Also, I just gotta say, Xbox's naming convention makes no goddamn sense. They need to do better because it's just confusing. Anyway, uh, yeah. So they pretty much they have announced that they're delaying the game because of just it's saying pretty much it's hard to make it for all these systems that they need some time. Now, and they even address in this, well, you're thinking if this is such an issue, 21 days is not going to make a difference. They're saying it does. It's after them announcing the game has gone gold, which usually means here it says it. They've announced that they're telling you in this release here, passing certification or going gold means the game is ready to be ready and can be completed and has all content in it. But it doesn't mean we stop working on it. So the reason of the delay is because of this day one patch. They call it day zero patch. Nowadays it's just the standard in gaming. When you get a game, a brand new game, there's a day one patch. There always is a day one patch. Now it's just a thing. And they're saying the reason of this day one patch is because the day one patch is not ready or it's not up to their standards, right? So this little thing is cool, and a lot of people on Twitter are rightfully, angry, and you know they're trying to still do the meme thing and this and that, but people are not really caring in some sense. Some people are trying to defend it. There's still some, I would say, fans, some fanboys who are like, "Come on, y'all, this and that." But for the most part, it's like, hey, stop announcing release dates. See right there. At this point, stop giving us release dates. If you're just gonna continue to push it back again. And this person, of course, is trying to defend them. How about you develop run on 9 systems or whatever? But it's besides the point. Simple solution: don't develop on 9 platforms, right? Little things like that, little simple things where it's like the fans are somewhat tired of defending CD Projekt Red. And I could show you the Cyberpunk subreddit. It's a shitstorm. People are pretty much turning uh on CD Projekt Red. If you went on there like a day before this was announced, uh, people were just the hype train was just getting into levels I hadn't seen before for Cyberpunk. Because it was so close, guys. Just 22 days away. We're so close. This is the end game. And, someone asked, "Hey, is there any more delays?" I just took time off. You're like, "No, full confirmation. Confirmation. It's coming. It's to 19th, y'all." The next day, they say we're delaying it. So this video is going to go into some things that I've been looking into with Cyberpunk because of this. So we know the article that was posted about, the extra days of just well, crunch that everyone is getting sick of, right? So this is a now deleted user that was posted 17 days ago in that article in which he talks about the the working conditions or the overall just lack of communication and disconnect between the developers at CD Projekt Red and the management, upper management, the big boys or whatever you want to call it. There is a lack of communication between them, and it is bad. So I'm gonna read this little excerpt here. So at this time, of course, people weren't really believing. People were like, anyone can say they work for CD Projekt Red on Reddit, yada yada. But now that this is happening, this delay, it kind of makes this now deleted user seem more legit. So here's what he goes on to say. He or she says, "Hi, CD Projekt developer here. Not only this conversation never happened, and this is talking about the main quote articles. I asked where Jason Schreier, I'm screwing his name up, but he says I asked a couple CD Projekt Red devs if it's true that the majority of the team wanted 6-day weeks over a delay. They said that conversation never took place. To which this person comes in and says, "Yeah, not only this conversation never happened, but this is just the last in a long list of very toxic behavior from upper management towards us developers. First of all, I can confirm this conversation never happened. If anything, the developers have been crunching no stop since May 2019, where the management was like, oh shit, we need to make the game. We must hurry. Mind that we were barely out of alpha at that point, even though most developed point out that okay, this English is a little even though most developed pointed out that it was impossible to do the whole game almost from scratch in 1 year. So even at 2019, apparently May 2019, they were barely out of alpha. Now, I'm not like in I've said in my past videos I did develop a game, very small, no went nowhere type of game, and that was hard. So I can't even imagine developing a AAA game on this scale. But to say in May 2019 they were barely out of alpha, where if I remember correctly, it was going to come out that year, was it not? And then it got delayed into April of this year, to which it got delayed again. So yeah, so he or she is saying at this point in May 2019, they were just like, oh hey, yeah, we gotta finish this game, guys, and so crunch. So if anything, people have been dreading the inevitable 2-year death march since long before the crunch started because they know it's how CD Projekt rolls. Dick around in pre-production for ages and then rush everyone and work devs to the bone and make up for the lost time, and none of them was looking forward to it. And you know what? That sounds like my experience developing when we were like in high school. It was a project. It was like our final project of our design class. It was like, because we spent most of it learning how to code and learning 3D art and all stuff like that. And then the project was to come together and make a game. And we were dicking around because we were fucking 16, 17, 18-year olds. It's kind of what we do. We dick around, right? So, and I would, I don't know if it makes me feel better that like a $1 billion company like this can do that and just dick around because they're like, that makes hey, maybe I should have got back in the game development. Maybe I was on the right track. But no, in all seriousness, they dick around and then out of nowhere rush everyone. This is why CD Projekt's crunch is ridiculous because it's it could be avoided if management wasn't so ridiculous. So let's keep going. So he says, we asked, as in developers asked, what's the plan if we can't deliver in a set deadline? And up until December, the answer from management was always, we have to. There is no plan B. So here you go. First year crunch there. Of course, first 2-month delay and then another 6-month delay. And that's talking about like the April into, when it just all delays, where it's just like every time it would come up to that, ready to get that release date, delay. So then another 6 months delay. And to give a picture of how low is the level of communication between management and developers, and this is what really got me, guys. We found out both times on Twitter and other social that the game was being delayed, with mail from Adam following a few hours later. The people making this game, the people actually like working, on this game, are not finding out critical information like delays until they see Twitter or other like, Instagram, I guess, or whatever, Facebook, whatever they're on. Same happened with the gold release and other announcements since June 2019. They didn't even know they were going gold. Guys, the people making this game did not know they were going gold. Now, I know, some of my videos have been talking about Vampires Masquerade and the possible miscommunication with that. But damn, a AAA game like this being miscommunicated like this is just, I mean, it's just as crazy, but I feel like it's another level of crazy because you would think a company like this would would have their shit together, would you not? So going on, he says, people getting riled up right now about the crunch. Just so you know, many people have been spending the weekends in the office and doing 16 hours per day pretty much since June 2019. So this article about the crunch didn't happen until this year. But this person is saying that, well, we've been doing that since last year. And some departments even earlier than that. Every time this was addressed, you get the usual copy paste spiel about we are fueled by passion, we are rebels. This is not for everyone, and other such copy paste slogans. And you know what? I never worked in a corporate company, but I've worked warehouses. I've worked some hard jobs. I've worked some like end of the road jobs just to because I needed it for the second. I needed some work, and I'm not too below myself or too above anything. I'll work. So shit like that here and there, we're fueled by passion. You're this and that. It's shit they try to say to make you feel like you're not killing yourself. And like I said, it's a cool way to say we have no idea what we're doing, but we have infinite cash and we fix everything with more crunch. And we essentially did that like warehouse work. If anyone's ever worked a warehouse, they know that at times uh that happens. They push you. Come on, we gotta get this out. We gotta ship this out quick. So shit like that happens. Anyway, at the end of the day, it feels like CD Projekt management is completely detached from the reality of us developers. And this is only a brief summary of issues pertaining crunch. There's much more that could be said, but believe that other issues could be resolved internally as the studio grows. So he goes on to try and give, like, saying, this could be fixed, but right now it's not. He talks about, I'm just going to summarize near the end, where he's pretty much saying how, like, it's a lot of people who worked on The Witcher 3 have been promoted. And so they're just used to it. That's just what you do. So it's gonna create this cycle of just crunch, crunch, crunch because their excuse is gonna be, well, hey man, I had to do it. It's cool. It's normal. Whatever. Right. So this isn't really what I'm talking about here. This gives you a little insight into the just great misunderstandings that are happening in this studio. But what I get to what made me talk about it even more was this one. This post here was the same person 15 days ago because there's this is both two posts by him where he says, studio's confident the game will be well received. Overall, Cyberpunk is coming out to be a great game. What's frustrating is that given a bit more time and better planning, it could come out as a masterpiece without anyone doing crunch. Basically saying if we paced it better and we stop trying to just rush, 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 and just have a good plan, have it worked out to where no one has a crunch. But this post here by them as well, 15 days ago, where he says day one patch is most likely going to be quite massive. The game was rushed, and the announcement of gold came as a surprise for most of the team. It is unlikely the game will be 100% done and polished, even including the day one patch. The game will easily need at least 4 to 5 more months of work, counting crunch. The technology behind the game is not bad, actually. The rendering and engine lighting teams did a great job, and visual quality is quite high. Although the red engine is a bit mangled, the game is not terrible, technically speaking, but it could have been you could have used more time to be properly shipped. And of course, at this time, people were like, "Dude, we don't know who you are." Da, 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 da. Like you could just be talking at your ass, right? But then this happens. This release date that they've been marketing as like this is the release. It is not going anywhere, y'all. It's coming out, right? Bam. This happens, and then I see these posts, and it just it worries me, right? It worries me so hard that hearing that this game was rushed, and it almost parallels the shit I was talking about with vampires, right? Where we just were like, what's going on with Vampires Masquerade? I made the name of the video, right? What's going on with that game? Because they're losing developers and they're losing just different heads of, well, like, the leads in the development, leads. But that's over in the vampire world. Cyberpunk, I thought would be different. I thought CD Projekt had their shit a little bit together. But if you do some research on a Witcher 3 making of, you'll hear even then it was pretty like, oh shit. Because I think what CD Projekt does is they develop for PC first and don't really think about the consoles. So if I'm gonna do some digging and do some, guessing, because that's what we're gonna do here, y'all. We're gonna theorize. We're gonna talk and shoot back and forth, and I see some comments you guys talking about your ideas and whatnot. I like it. It's cool. We can communicate and get some new ideas and perspectives. Right? What do you read this? What do you see? What do you feel is going on? But what I think is happening is that the game passed certification barely enough to get gold. Say, yep, you guys are good, and they're like, all right, we're going gold, and hypes everyone up because so far this game has been really just a hype machine. It's been a mix of they're either showing stuff or they're not, and for the longest they weren't showing anything, and that's fine. It's game development. You don't have to show us until you're wholeheartedly ready to show us, right? But 2018, they showed that little demo, which they said was alpha, and a lot of stuff is gonna be cut out or may not be there. And we've learned a lot of shit in that demo. That 2018 demo, I wouldn't even watch that because you're not even sure what is even in the game. Because we know for sure one, it's third person cutscenes are gone. They're not in the game. Uh, apartment customization or whatever, not in the game. Which is these are honestly little things. I mean, in my opinion, I like third person more than first person. I was actually very disappointed that they went from making a third person game like The Witcher to creating a first person shooter. I thought they'd keep a third person thing. To me, third person RPG works better, but that's just me. But anyway, I still like a FPS. But my issue was these guys are not pros in FPS. So a new company that's usually making third person RPGs, going from third person sword clashing and fantasy to first person shooter, it could be bad. I mean, it's really easy to fuck up a first person shooter, I'd say, if the shooting doesn't feel right. And there was a couple little issues people had watching the gameplay where they said the guns don't feel this, the recoil, little things like that. It's really easy to screw up first person shooter, even though it actually is really easy to make a first person shooter. That's why a lot of companies, a lot of indie games use first person because you don't have to model animations and stuff like that. You can just worry about little things. So I get why they did it, but it's also for me. But anyway, they said it'll be third person cutscenes, so you'd see your character in cutscenes, right? Because there's a in depth customization. Apparently, you can customize your dick size, right? Which I mean, I don't really know why you'd want to do that. It's funny, I guess. It's cool that you can do that, but is it going to impact gameplay? It's my thing, because like Saints Row did it. You say, well, Saints Row had dick customization. You can customize how big your bulge was and whatnot, but that game is ridiculous, right? It's not going to actually impact gameplay in any way. It's just for the sake of absurdity because that's what Saints Row was or is. Uh, Conan. I know Conan, the open sandbox game. I can't remember the name of it, but that game also has like a dick slide or whatever. I mean, I don't. That game also has nudity, so which Cyberpunk does well. I mean, is it going to be useful? Is it like my dick size? Because there's a street cred thing in this game. In Cyberpunk, there's a street cred thing where like the more street cred you got, the more little things here and there you can get. So I'm like, is my dick size gonna like pump my street cred? I'm like, yo, that dude is rocking. He's rocking dong, man. Don't fuck with him. Is that what's gonna happen? Anyway, back on subject. I'm just like, this sounds very similar and eerily similar to the Vampires Masquerade issue, where it's just lack of communication, lack of understanding from all around, and it's fucking this game up. So Cyberpunk, the fact that this person said from their inside that this game is rushed and they're rushing it because they're trying to get it out. Now I'm gonna I'm gonna display some wrong understandings. This game has not been in development for 7 or 8 years. I know it was announced in 2013 or 2012, 2013. It was announced around that time, but it's not been in development since then. It was announced then, and even the trailer says teaser trailer. It was announced in 2013, but they've said they didn't start making the game until 2016 when they finished the Witcher stuff. They didn't start after they like finished The Witcher. That's when they started really kind of putting more resources into Cyberpunk, but it was in pre-production. But by the sounds of this person, it's been in pre-production since last year. Him or her saying that they were in alpha as of May of 2019. It's just last year, y'all. Like a game in alpha, and then and as big and as ambitious as this game is looking to be, because it is pretty ambitious. It's ambitious in the sense of it's a company that really was an indie company up until like Witcher 2 to Witcher 3. If you watch the documentaries on, or even like the behind it, just read up on what was CD Projekt Red and how they got to where they are. I mean, they were almost like bankrupt. Witcher 1, which if I love Witcher 1, but Witcher 1 is not a very like appealing game for most people. I think most people will get turned off playing it. But if you stick with it, it's a great story and the gameplay is not that bad. It's a fun RPG. I like a little Euro jank, and it's very Euro jank. But Witcher 2 definitely raised the bar. I mean, it was a completely different studio. Witcher 2 is great. And Witcher 2, I mean, raised the bar on graphics. I remember when that game came out, it had very high graphics requirements. And people were like, yo, this game is like the new Crisis. Can it run The Witcher 2? So, but Witcher 2 was great, and I love it. And then Witcher 3, of course, everyone calls it a masterpiece, the greatest game of all time. I prefer Witcher 2. In some ways, honestly, I like The Witcher 2 a little bit more. A little bit more. It's a little more focused, a little more concise. But Witcher 3 did a good job, honestly, of having a great story in an open world game. A great story. It didn't suffer. Uh, but then going from making RPGs to saying we're gonna make a first person shooter, we're gonna make it bigger than The Witcher. We're gonna make it more dense. Well, it's not. I don't think it's bigger. I think it's more dense. We're gonna make it more dense. We're gonna have that same storytelling we did with The Witcher with Cyberpunk. Now, The Witcher you can get away with a lot because The Witcher you can have big open lands with nothing for miles, and it just makes sense. It's more immersive. I think Novgorod was the only really big city in The Witcher until, of course, the expansion pack came that added Toussaint and whatnot. But for the vanilla game, there was only really one real big city, a lot of villages spread out. Now, going from that to say we're gonna make one gigantic city with multiple sections that are all dense and have little things here and there. That's a lot. That's a lot for developers, and the fact that they've planned this out so poorly that they have to keep pushing it back. So, like, one delay is fine. Two delays, I understand. You're gonna apologize, but like now it's like this is the third or fourth, and I'm theorizing, guys. It's not coming out December 10th. I'm just gonna say it right now. I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it right now. If I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, hell yeah. But I think that it's not coming out December 10th, and they're gonna delay it again because this findings right here, and I'll keep it updated. I'm probably make another video, more shit I find. But this right here, makes me think that this game's not coming out December 10th. It might just get pushed back again to next year. And if so, I hope not because it's gonna fuck them really bad. I just want to play this game. I mean, I need something, y'all. Like Vampires is pushed back to next year, and Witcher's getting pushed back more and more. I mean, Witcher, Cyberpunk's getting pushed back. I almost took time off from work to play this game. I'm glad I didn't. Damn, damn. So yeah, I'll end this one on that note. We'll figure out some more. We'll see. But yeah, guys, I'll keep you updated.